Miss Shirley OG, what's going on? She the first one speaking in here. Let's see who else we got in the chat. Nope. Open nope. Hello, what's going on? Let's see who else we got in here. Wanna be crafty grandma. What's going on, wanna be crafty grandma? Just I was out here harvesting some blueberries today and I wanted to share that with you guys. Let me know if y'all can hear me. Let me y'all know the routine. Hit the little like buttons over there if you can hear me. So if you can hear me, hit those like buttons. That's gonna let me know that everything is good over here. Yep. So they say, yep. Donna says yes. Yes, I can hear you. All right. I'm gonna just y'all know when I start pulling my garlic out, it's about that time. Y'all better stop playing with me. Please stop playing with me. What the world? Is that an elephant foot or what? Yes. Okay. Y'all know how we do every year. They won't be on sale this week, but I'm gonna let these cure for about 2 weeks, and then we're gonna have those on growingoutthebox.com. I'm gonna just kind of pull up some of these things so you guys will see some of what it is. Oh boy. Let me sit this camera down. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Yep. All right. Yeah, that'll work. Now I can get over here, kind of piece some things together. This is just some of the elephant garlic I was pulling out. It's been raining these past few days, so you're not supposed to harvest your elephant garlic when it's moist outside because it gives it a better chance of getting some type of fungus in it. But I had to pull a couple of them just to see what the sizes were looking like so I could show you guys. How about that? Huh? That's some nice sized garlic or what? Yes, sir. I think this one might be the largest one here. Look at my look at my head. That's a garlic. That's what those natural inputs will do. Let me see if I can read some of the chat down here. Say we speaking to Miss Shirley OG. They're saying yes, they can hear you. Hello, chat. Auntie's World. What's going on, Auntie's World? Dwayne, Soil Sister. Hey, Soil Sister. Thank you for coming in. I was just showing off a little bit of these elephant garlic that we just harvested. Been raining, so I probably shouldn't have pulled them right now because, of course, that rain will cause them to get a little mildew in them and they won't cure as well. So I pulled a couple of them, just wanted to see what they were looking like. But how about that? Let me see here. Is that a nice garlic size? What you think? Let me see here. Let me sit one of them down, and this is my hand here. That's the garlic. Huh? What you think? Is that pretty big or what? Next to my head. It's pretty nice sized garlic. Let me see if I can get down here. Miss Shirley OG said that's huge. Yep. They they come out like that around here, Miss Shirley. Matter of fact, I'm gonna show you just how these things are around here. I'm gonna walk you over here. I got them scattered out all around the garden. So there's no one particular place that I have them in, but I like to spread them out throughout the season so whenever I get to harvest, I can just pull them from anywhere. But we're gonna pull this out and just see what this bulb looks like. Trying not to wake up Mr. B up there. Is that pretty good size there? Not gonna clean up. Like I said, you really don't want to harvest them this time. You can see how that moisture is in there, and it'll have that skin tapered off on there. So we're gonna sit that over there with the other ones. These are just some of the elephant garlic that we're bringing out of here. You can see what size that is. I got them all over the garden, so it kind of moves like that. Let's see. I lost my garlic to soil too moist. Now the raccoons dug it up. That's what Miss Shirley OG said. She lost her garlic because the soil was too moist. That's right, Miss Shirley. If that soil is too moist, they will rot on you. But that is what we're picking up around here. This is a pretty nice size one here. It has probably about 5 cloves in it. So we'll be having that on growingoutthebox.com real soon. Let me see who's down here in the chat. OCD is chick. What's going on? GOTB neighbors. So y'all hit the little, y'all know the routine. Hit the little like button over there. So cash flow. Please like the video. Yep. These are some of the elephant garlic that we pull out. Hey, what's OCD is chick? Nikki. Hey man, y'all think I be playing about this garlic over here, boy. These things, I just pulled this one out before you came in the room. I'm not sure if you saw that. But she said beautiful garlic. OCD is chick. That's Nikki, the OCD is chick. Says beautiful garlic. So, but that's not what I wanted to really come out here for. I'm gonna sit that down. I didn't even bring my bowl out. So I know my wife's in there watching me. She's gonna bring my bowls out in a minute. But I was out here picking some of my blueberries, letting you guys see how these blueberries can grow for you, even in pots. Because that's what we'll be talking about this year, and that's growing our blueberries in pots. Yeah, my wife always rescues me. Here she comes now with my bowl. But I'm trying to get you guys to see the berries before I pull them off. Can y'all see those there? These things are huge. This is a sweetheart here. Yeah, it's talking about she need to be on the payroll. Ask her how that mortgage get paid every month. That's the payroll. Don't talk about she need to be on the payroll. Bringing my bowl out here. What kind of talk is that? So, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull a bundle off of here just so you guys can see. Oh yeah, you can see that. These things are huge. This is the sweetheart. So if you guys don't have a sweetheart, this is a must that you have. And again, all of these are in pots. The ones up front, you've already heard the routine before. They were grown from seeds, so we're not going to have anything from the 4 up front. These are channelers that I grew from seed. These are my cuttings in the back that I grew from my cuttings of my sweetheart. And my son just left from out here picking some as well. But I'll let you guys see what these bundles look like. Look like little grapes on it. Now, I wish my wife would do me the favor one more time and come out and bring my refractometer. And where did I leave? My refractometer is on the kitchen counter. And I want to show you guys what the Brix. I got a 15 out of these today. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to share this with you guys. I got a 15 on the refractometer today with the blueberries. So that's the best that I've gotten. The last time I got a 14, a little better than the 14, maybe a 14.5, but a 15 on the blueberries. Yeah, I'm loving that. G Mama Groves, what's going on, neighbor? Let's see, so those berries look amazing. So, wife saved me again. I be trying to move so fast, and like I said, we got a little rain earlier today, so I wasn't quite thinking that I was gonna go live or not. But this is my refractometer here. I got A 15 today. That's the best that I've gotten on the berries in the pots. And what reason why I'm showing you guys this is I want to let you know that you can successfully grow blueberries in pot and get those high bricks. A 15. Google it. Let me know what you think. A 15 on the bricks. And I'm going to see if I can mimic that again because I am so unprepared. Because the way I get that, and I'm going to show you how I usually do my blueberries. And this is one of the sweethearts. So usually I'll pull the little bloom off the bottom there, and then I'll stick a pin in the bottom, and then I'll just squeeze it on the refractometer. The sun's going down now, so it may not show anything, but let's see. We're gonna try it anyway. If I can get a little juice out of there. No, yeah, this ain't working right now. But let's try another one. Usually you can get the that blossom in to pop a little juice out of it. These things taste like grapes, and I'm gonna keep trying to show you guys today. Miss Shirley OG is speaking. Um, let's see. Do you grow okra? Yes, I grow okra. I just put my okra in a few days ago, as a matter of fact. I'm late because I've been trying to do so much other stuff. But the okra loves this summer. So I've already transitioned the garden over into all of my summer. The only thing that I haven't put in are my black beans and my purple hull peas. Yeah, that's not going to be enough because you have to have that pulp out the way. Oh, I don't know. This one's a 14.5. Now let me see if I can let you guys see that. This is a 14.5. It may be too dark out here right now. You see it? Oh yeah, live on camera. That's you can't get much better than that. That's 14.5 there. So that worked out pretty good. Let me see if we could test another one. Wipe that off. Wipe the prism off. So y'all go ahead and hit them little like buttons on the side right there. I appreciate that. 14.5. Earlier today we got a straight 15. So let's see if we can what this one I have. Oh yeah, she got some juice coming out of this one. Oh, this one's I'm gonna say 15. It's 15 bluer line. We're gonna let you see what this one is. This one's a 15. Let's see if we can get this one to see it. There she go. Oh yeah. 15 with a blurred line. That's where you want to be at. Bring it back in there. OCD is, that's right, 15. That 15 came through. So that's two of them. That's this little bitty bush right here. This is a 2.5 year old cutting from my sweetheart over there. So we're gonna wipe this one off. We're gonna pull one from this bush. This is the second cutting. All these were done at the same time. When I tell you these things taste like sweet grapes, oh yeah, they showing out this year. And like I said, this is the same thing. My 50% peat moss, 25% mini pine bark nuggets, 25% compost, and a quarter cup of that cottonseed meal. It's gonna hold that pH on all of these things. And that's how you're gonna get these bricks. Now, I do spray fulvic acid on these things. Still gotta do the video, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make that fulvic acid extract because it changes the game. My tomatoes over there are getting a 16, and that is amazing. I mean, my tomatoes literally tasting like plums. I'm out here eating tomatoes like they're plums. So it's the fulvic acid extract, my fish hydrolysis, and the FPJs that I'm making. So if you guys are not making those FPJs, I'm telling you, you don't know what you're missing. It's gonna make your garden so much easier to grow because all of those nutrients are gonna be taken straight up into that stomata. You're gonna be bypassing all of the roots and pulling that stuff up, bringing it all the way up to the plant. You can go straight to the plant, and that's gonna translate over to the sweetness and the nutrient density of your berries or your fruit. Let's see if we can do another one here. But if we, oh yeah, she just got a drop on there. So we're definitely gonna get a reading on this one. Uh-oh. Yeah. Man, y'all gonna stop playing with me because I be doing too much. I ain't even gonna tell you what this one is. You can see it for yourself. Let's see here. And the sun's going down, so it's gonna be hard to kind of get it. I have to tap it on the right spot. There we go. What y'all gonna call that one? Put it in the chat. Whatever you think that is, put it in the chat. Let me see you put the Brix reading in the chat. What you think that is? Is that a 14.5 or are we gonna call it a blurred line 15? Y'all put it in the chat. 15 or 14.5. Okay, we're gonna call it a 15. I'm with that. So that's plant number two. Again, these are 2.5 year old cuttings from my sweetheart over here. And like I promised you guys, we're gonna be doing our focus this year is gonna be on our pot. And I wanna show you that you can do the exact same thing that I'm doing in these raised beds. You can get the same results out of a pot. So we're gonna go to number three over here. This is the third sweetheart. We're gonna wipe off our prism there. Let's see if we can, and see what you're doing is where the berry comes off from the bush, that little pinhole in the top. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna let y'all call it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna let y'all call it. Put it in the chat. Whatever you think it is, put it in the chat. Let's see if we can find the prism. Put it in the chat what you think it is. All right. So let me see it. Put it in the chat. What do you think that is? 15, 15.5. And we're going to grab one more from this one. And again, the little pinhole at the top. Let me see if I can put that to the camera. The little pinhole at the top where you pull it from the berry, when you pull the berry from the bush, that's where you want to get that juice from. So we're going to wipe our prism off. And most of the time, it's going to be that first one that pops out where that juice is going to come from. Here she go. If I can just drop it on the prism. So I'm going to go back to your question in a minute, where she asked why growing in the pots and not in ground. Oh, okay. Put it in the chat. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all put it in the chat. This ain't me doing this. We right here doing this live. Okay. Let me see if I can line it up right. Yeah, the sun's going down, so that's a 16. Yes. I'm gonna ask my wife one more time. Bring my flashlight out. I'm gonna see if I can do it with a flashlight. I've never done this with a flashlight before. My flashlight is on the shoe stand by the back door. If you could bring that out for me, please. I think that was a 16. Yes, Allah 5831 says a 15.9. I think that was a solid 16. If I can get this flashlight out here, I think I'm going to prove this. That was a 16 from bush number 3. And all 3 of these are, like I say, 2.5-year-old cuttings from my big sweetheart. And you always hear me talking about my sweetheart more so than any other plant. Sweetheart and the Northland. Now, the Northland is not a sleeper either. But again, going back to the question that the person asked me a little while ago, why am I growing them in pots? I'm growing them in pots because you guys asked me to grow them in pots to see what the results would be at the end of the day. Could I get the same results that I get out of my big beds? Because not everybody has the space to be able to grow in ground. So I wanted to be, that's uh, that's my green light. That's not the right one, but I'll try it. It should be on the shoe stand. Anybody know what the green light is for? Let me see if anybody knows what the green light is for. But I'm gonna try it with the green light. Nah, the green light is not gonna do it because the refractometer has green in the prism. I can see it, but I don't think it'll show up on camera. I need a white light. Can somebody tell me what the green light is for? Big wheel dog, what's going on? OCD is say green means go. No, there's a reason why you want to have a green light in your garden, and I want to see who knows the answer to that. Where's Mike Chaotic Garden at now? Now, where's Mike's Chaotic Garden? Oh, okay, G Mama. I'm finna ask G Mama the question. Why would you need a green light in the garden? Okay, I'm asking G Mama. G Mama be on it. So let's see. Green light. Why do we need a green light in the garden? I know people use green lights to not disturb the flowering cycle. There you go. What is that? Nope. Open. I don't know what that is. Nope. Open. Nope. Or something like that. Nope. Open. Nope. Hit it right. Not to disturb the flowering cycle. That is absolutely correct. When you're out in your garden at night and you're looking around, you want to have a green light because when you use a regular flashlight out in your garden at night, it disrupts the cycle of your plant and it'll throw it off. It's kind of like giving it too much daylight. It doesn't know when to shut off. You throw off its cycle because you got to think we have long days and short days. So if you're out here flashing your light and the plant's already had its 16 hours of sunlight, you disrupt its flow. So it'll throw off your flowering cycle. It's absolutely correct. Green lights. So if you're out in your garden at night, you want a green light. That one will work. Yeah. Let me see. Wifey saves me again. That's 3 times in a row. And let me see here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're going to see if we can see this one. I'm going to try this first time I've done that with a flashlight and it worked. So let's see if I can show you guys on camera. If I can get it to the camera and then put the light on it. There it is. Yep. That worked. Okay. That's the first time. I've never tried that before. I've never tried that before, but that's the first time. So that worked. All right. So you guys know if you don't have any sunlight, you can use a flashlight to have your refractometer to show what your bricks are. Um, GT Junior grows in Alaska. What's going on, my brother? 59. V Dazzle. V Dazzle. That's a 16 now. We ain't gonna be trying to cheat me out of that little 1 point now. Give me my 16. Give me my 16. Oh, Lynn 10 said it's 17 too. You got to take into consideration now the blurred line. The blurred line shows nutrient density. If you have a straight line, when you're using your refractometer and it has a straight line, a solid straight line, means that you're getting the sugars, but your complexity of the profile of the bush itself or the complex sugars is not wide enough. If that's a good way to explain it, I don't even know if that's a good way to explain it. But the blurred line shows that you have good nutrient uptake. It shows that your potassium is flowing, meaning that your water is transferring up and down, showing that your sugars are good. All of those things is what your refractometer is going to tell you. So a lot of the things that you guys see me doing out here in the garden is not a guessing game for me. There's certain targets that I'm looking for and certain things that I'm doing to the plants to try to achieve those targets. And then I share that with you guys. So if you follow what it is I'm asking you to do, you're going to be able to get the same results because it's not difficult. These plants are fed with fulvic acid extract. It is the blend. On all of these, it's the same blend. Again, 50% peat moss, 25% mini pine bark nuggets, 25% compost, and a quarter cup of that cottonseed meal. Even with these, with them being in pots, I'll scrape off the pine bark mulch on the top. I'll mix up a batch of 3 gallons of that same mix, and then I'll top dress across the top of the bush. I'll water it in with some fish hydrolysate along with some fulvic acid. Then I'll cover it back up with some fresh mulch. That's the routine on all of these. And these been in pots since I did the cuttings 2.5 years. So these are 2.5-year-old cuttings. If you go all the way down the line, all of these are 2.5, 3-year-old cuttings. The ones up front, this one right here is a 2.5-year-old, might be 3 years right now, but it was grown from seed. Um, she didn't produce anything this year, though I had one that produced a few berries. So next year I may get something off of those. So I just wanted to see, growing from seed, like how long would it take before the berries start to form? And looks like it's about 3 years on average. So I was gonna harvest some berries, but we done got down now. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna sit this stuff down here and we're gonna go over to our little spot. Y'all know where we be chilling at. Cause we be chilling. I don't think some of y'all was in here when I showed those. I just pulled this up. Let's see here. For those who just came into the room, I just pulled this up a little while ago. What y'all think? These are my elephant garlic. Yep. Just pulled that out the ground like maybe 10 minutes ago before we started fooling with the blueberries. And I'll take you over here. And we got some more that we pulled up today. I shouldn't have pulled them today because we've been getting a little bit of rain, and that rain will cause them to get some moisture into them, and they'll get mold on them. So I'm gonna sit those there. This is some of the other ones that I'm pulling out. These are elephant garlic, all organically grown. Yep. No synthetic fertilizers. And most of this stuff that I'm doing over here was was created right here in the garden. They're plants that I now y'all saw the other one that I had, right? Look at that monster down there. Can y'all see that? Is that not a monster? She got to weigh about 15 pounds. Huh? The size of a melon. That's an eggplant. So they coming off like that. We got them jumping off of here. This is going to be a really big size one here. When they get that little, looks like a double head on them is what I call it. This is going to be a big one here. You see that pretty gloss on it. But these are the ones I'm saving the seeds on, the ones with looks like the double head. I'm going to see if I can duplicate that with putting them into the thing. And these things here, I've been eating these like plums. I mean, look at, they're perfect. Even with all the rain that we've been getting, they're still perfect all the way around. Perfect. Blossom in, perfect. Marglobes. Oh my goodness. Yes. It's happening all over the place. Super size. This one I got to get off. That didn't get pollinated. Well, we got some more down there at the bottom. There's some more down in the garden bed itself. These things are delicious. Got Mr. Hootie Hoo on this side right here. This baby right there, blood red. These are marglobes. Hootie Hoo. When the peanuts are, oh, no, no. Now, I would be remiss to not show you guys this. I got to go in the cage for this one. I'm going to sit this. I got to finish it. This is my squash cage here. And I think the only mistake that I made here, and I like putting them in at different times, but I got one that's just kind of taken over. Let's see here. Turn this camera around. She just done took off. Look at that dark green. Oh yeah. And she just putting off some fruit down there too. That's the Georgia candy roaster there. She's gonna have all of that. So I'm gonna let her run all the way down. That's some more Georgia candy roasters. I'll probably give those away. That's a Georgia candy roaster there. And look at what the big one is doing to the little baby down there. It won't give her any light. So I'm either have to move that one or just sacrifice it because this thing has taken off. I mean, it is crazy. Look at the color. You see how rich that color is? And she has nothing to disturb her so she can grow and be her best life. These are some straight necks here. They're just starting to push out. This one's struggling a little bit. But basically that Georgia candy roaster is gonna take over. That Georgia candy roaster gonna take over there. And then I got a mashed potato squash just peeping out right there. So hopefully she'll take off. But I just wanted to show you guys this thing is massive. And with nothing to disturb her, she is gonna live her best life in the squash cage. This is the only way that I'm gonna be growing, primarily my squash from here on out. And I may add something to this, maybe make this a little larger to where I can do more like this. But I built a little wraparound bed that goes around, wraps around the entire thing here. That's a custom built. And what I may do, I may have these built for this particular enclosure and offer these on growingoutthebox.com, the entire squash cage. And you can see my peanuts, they're starting to come in. Look at them beautiful flowers. The flowers will fall off and that becomes where the pegs will tap into the soil, and that is where your peanuts come from. Your peanuts don't come from your roots. So let me turn this around, close this back up. We finally got our grapes training. They're starting to climb. She's did about a foot. I had to mark that right here. So she's grown about a foot since I put her as the leader. And I'm gonna be taking those off. I'm gonna do cuttings with this. This is a Mars. And I'm gonna leave these 2 bundles on there. Those are the only 2 bundles I'm gonna leave on. The other ones I'm gonna go ahead and remove. But that is, you guys have seen that. That's the trellis. I gotta finish putting my panel right here so these navy beans can climb. Navy beans are coming up. I got more navy beans on the other side. And we got our lights this time. Blackberries crazy. The blackberries just going crazy everywhere. My wife and them been slacking on it. They haven't been picking them like they should. So that's the alfalfa there. We got our alfalfa FPJ finished too. Man, that thing's looking good. It's that comfrey. Now we're gonna sit down here and we're gonna chop it up a little bit. Got my lights out here this time. Give me a minute to set my stand up. All right. And then we bring it down. Get it in the right position there. See my Tinkerbells up here? Yeah, that's the little ambience that I have. Let's see my lights. So we got light today. I came ready today. Let me see here. Go ahead and turn my other light on back here. See if it'll show up. Yep. So I've been playing around with the whole little ambience out here and trying to get it. I don't know if that is that too bright. Let me know if that's too bright. Let me know if that light in front of me is too bright. I could turn that down some. Big Will says it looks fine to me. G Mama Grove is speaking to Big Will. She said, I don't use that either. I recommend a slow release soil conditioner like neem seed meal. That's a good one. That's a good one, G Mama Groves. Cash Flow says it looks pretty good. All right. So that's what I'm trying to do is just kind of get me a little spot to where we can kind of get out of here and just kind of chop it up a little bit. Um, Sifting, what's going on, Mona? Sifting soil and more. She said, what's going on growing out the box and chat? You finally caught me. Um, what is that? Ecology today. Good day to all. Uh, Hermit County, Midwestern Ontario, Canada. Um, in the lee of Lake Horn. What's going on from Canada? Appreciate you dropping in. Um, we were just testing the Brix on my blueberries, so I'm really, I'm really feeling pretty good right now because I was out here just eating the blueberries today, and I was like, wow, these things taste like grapes. And this is really the sweetest year that I've had, and I guess that's this year I've been really putting emphasis, like I was telling you guys, we're trying to do more like closing the loop. So with that closing the loop, I've been using more of the fulvic acid extract, my FPJs, and that's fermented plant juice for those who are not familiar with that. I did the Henbit FPJ on the blueberries 2 days ago. So that would attribute to why those bricks are a little higher than normal. A 16, that's the highest that I've gotten thus far. Um, that's pretty decent. I think that's pretty decent. Um, let's see here. Who else is in here that I didn't speak to? PA Fish Preacher. PA Fish Preacher. Where do you get the blueberry coverings? The blueberry coverings are my personal coverings. That's the three zippers. That is my personal little design. Has a 48-inch parameter top on it, and it has three zippers on each. Three zippers on each. They are currently sold out, and also the shop is down for maintenance. We're doing some upgrades to the store. It's going to look totally different when it comes back up, but all the features are going to be the same. We're just upgrading right now. So we're trying to get a little better at serving you guys. The site looks really nice. When it comes back up, you guys are going to really like it. We're trying to get those three zippers back in. They're not going to be here before the end of the blueberry season, so I'm going to tell you that right now. They're on a container on the way to the U.S. Usually takes about 30, 40 days at a given. So if you guys want to get the three zipper, I could do like some pre-orders in advance if that's something that you guys would want to do to make sure that you get yours because I think I did 1,500 this time. The last time we did a man, I'm trying to say wow, that's not going to be enough because we did 700 the last time and the 700 sold out in 4 days. That's with the three zipper blueberry bush netting. And that is exactly what they're called. They're called blueberry bush nettings. They're not a insect netting. I don't call them an insect netting. So You guys showed up and you emptied the store out. I mean, to the point to where I just wanted to upgrade everything and get things a little smoother to bring some different features to the store. That's all. Um, G Mama said tapping that like button helps support the channel. Better than tapping that like button, you know the routine. You got to hit that little, what do they call it on the side there to make those hundreds and hearts pop up on the screen? That is what does it. We went from, I think they call it reactions. In our average lives that we do before we started doing these, they're called reactions. So you guys want to get this live shared out, make sure you hit the hundreds on the side there and the hearts because that's what reacts it and the algorithm picks it up and it shares the video out. The last video that we did, the last live that we did, I went back and looked at the analytics. We went from 16 to 1700 reactions to 11,000 reactions. 11,000 reactions. You guys were participating, and I really appreciate that because now our lives are starting to make sense. It makes sense for me to come out here and do a live if we're going to get, some decent views out of the lives, and the lives are now averaging, pretty well. So we're getting anywhere from 5 to 7,000 views out of the lives right now. So that's pretty good coming from the rookie. And I owe it a lot to OCDist chick who's in the room right now. The OCDist chick was one of the ones who first schooled me on how to go live. Matter of fact, she was on my first live. So I appreciate you, Nikki. You put the training wheels on your boy. I think I got it now. What you think? I appreciate you. Um, what this is? Nope says first time here, and I just love the garden. It's fantastic. I appreciate it, man. And like I said, I do this. This is our thing. I share everything that I do out here. I share the way I grow. I share the inputs that I'm putting into it. I share how I make the inputs. And the only thing that I ask for is that you guys hit the like button when you come into the room. That's all. So I'm seeing a highlight. It says it took almost a year to sprout my blueberry seeds. Let me see who's but now I got dozens of blueberry seedlings. Okay. Let me see who says that. Joy Shover says it took almost a year to sprout his blueberry seeds, and now he has dozens of blueberry seedlings. That's what's up, Joey. Um, I only have four that I grew from seed, and that's my Chandler. My Chandler is, I want to say 3 years old. This year will make 3 years that I planted from seed. I got my first, I think, three berries on the Chandler. Out of the four bushes, only one produced berries. So that's something that you're going to be able to look forward to. In year three, you should start seeing your berries come in. On a cutting, you get berries the same year or the year after. So I'm not sure that I will be investing into seeds. And then also, you got to take into consideration most of the blueberry bushes that we're growing right now, the northern high bushes, southern high bushes, most of them are hybrids. So whatever you're getting from your seeds, if you took seeds from one of your other bushes, probably is not going to be as resilient as the plant that you have now. So I just wanted to see for myself what would happen growing from seed because I get a lot of questions on have I ever grown from seed. So what better way to pretty much give you guys an example of what happens is to show you, and that is to do it for myself. So that's one thing I like to do. If you ask me about growing a certain thing and if it's of interest to me, I'm going to try to grow it and I'm going to show you the whole steps from day one all the way up until now. So, yeah, 3 years, you're going to be able to start looking for probably for some berries starting in year three. I'd rather do the cuttings, but hey, it's an experience. Nope says, is that elephant garlic flower on the left over your shoulder? That is a leek, but the elephant garlic flower looks identical. The leeks, the only difference between the leeks is the leeks has green flowers on the end. The florets are green, but on the inside, if you look deep into the leek, it almost looks like a glowing pink on the inside of the leek. So they look almost identical. Let's see if I can find an elephant garlic. Yeah, the leeks are different. The flowers look a lot different, but that's a leek. But the elephant garlic is in the same family, so they pretty much look the same. G Mama, those alliums in the background got me distracted. Hey man, what I'm trying to say is the ambience. You know what I mean? The name of the live is called Lights Out Live. So we walk around the garden, we show a few things in the garden. Then as the daytime starts to come down, this is when most of us are coming in from the garden anyway, then we kind of chop it up. We talk about the things that we've done in the garden today, or maybe something that I've showed you and you guys want to ask about. But I've been looking for that perfect little spot. I got I call these my little Tinkerbell lights up top. I love these little things. They add just a little spice to them. The little Tinkerbell lights, and I'm sitting under my Chase Lounge. They got a Everest grapevine is going to be growing up this. So once all of this comes in, it's going to be amazing over here. So again, having the light, there's a light in the back that's shining on these flowers right here. And that's a good thing because that means two of you already have asked about those flowers, where in the past you probably wasn't able to see them because there was no light back here. So that is by design. I have the lights shining directly on these because I love the way that they look, and it reminds you like a little sparkler, just perfectly round with the florets all over it. It's a beautiful flower. And the bees absolutely love it. So if you're not letting your alliums go to seed, this is what you're missing. Not just a beautiful flower, but one of the best pollinators in your garden. I love them. I have them all over the garden. There's no way that you can walk around the garden and not see some of my elephant garlic or my onions go into seed. I just love that. And then what they'll do, I'll shake the thing, and then next year they'll come up on their own. And this is a beautiful thing too. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I'm gonna see if we can go over here and I can show you this real quick and then we'll come back. But this is something that I really love here, and that is let me see. For those who've been here, you know what this is. Can anybody tell me what this is that haven't been here before? Tell me what kind of flower that is. This is why you let your plants go to seed. This is my comfrey bed, but everything in the bed here I kind of just let grow wild. That's one flower. Let me see if anybody knows what that flower is. The sunset is beautiful. It really is. This is that's my alfalfa here. I grow my own alfalfa. I make my own alfalfa FPJs. This here, these are the other ones here. Somebody tell me what kind of flower this is. Isn't that I mean, this is a beautiful flower, but this is another plant that's going to seed. And if you're not letting this particular vegetable in your garden go to seed, you will miss this beauty. And I just let the seeds drop and then they come up on their own. But this bed here has, I think these are jade beans here. These are my jade beans. They're beautiful string beans. The little skinny ones that you saute. Let me see if I can pull one off of here. These are the ones that my daughter loves to cook. And you can see these are actually a little overgrown, need to be harvested because you don't want the jade beans to start protruding out. That means that they've grown a little over. But these, that that is what you call a perfect flower. That is what you call a perfect flower. That is that's an elephant garlic there. Yeah. So that's what that is. But this, nobody told me what this. There you go. Um, Vidazzle Design got it right. Let me see who else in there. G Mama Grows got it. Yep, carrots. That's what it is, carrots. That's what your carrot looks like if you allow them to go to seed. Isn't that just beautiful? Yep. This is what happens when you just allow the garden to do what it's supposed to do, and that goes through its cycles. They'll drop their seeds, and then I don't even have to plant. Most of this stuff comes up on its own. I don't even have to replant. Um, Let me see something else of interest. Go out here. I want to just let you guys see it's real dark. It's starting to get dark, but we're gonna go out here and that green light. This is uh this is one of my Mexican sunflowers here. This is where that biomass comes from. We make FPJs with this. This is good, and phosphorus. So when I do my FPJs, I like to mix them together to get a blended biostimulant, because I don't call this fertilizer, they're biostimulants. Works way better than fertilizer, I'm telling you. You see how dark green those leaves are? I've been feeding it FPJs as well, and she'll just put on massive leaves throughout. And you can harvest these all year long, and I make more FPJs with those. So I got cuttings of these. I'll be putting the other cuttings out, and they're probably about 12 inches tall. But by the season end, I'll be have harvested these a couple of times and made FPJs out of them. They just last long. But what that does is I spray that on my plum trees. You see how dark those leaves are? That's what keeps the insects away. Insects do not like complex sugars. When you build up the bricks in those leaves, the insects do not bother them. You're gonna get some insect pressure, and I'm gonna tell you, this year for some reason, the Japanese beetle is extra over here. I mean, we got Japanese beetles like crazy over here, but they're manageable. They're getting to my beans. They are really getting havoc on the beans. So I just sprayed my beans. I try not to spray anything on my beans because if you have a little nitrogen in it, it makes the bacteria weak and they don't form the nodules. So I try not to spray, even on the, what is it, folics is what you call these? Anybody could tell me what these, I think it's called a folics. Folix or folics? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Folics, I think that's what they're called. Somebody help me out. What is this flower? I think it's called a folix or folix or something like that. But they are really bad with powdery mildew. And if you can see here, I don't know if that green light is going to throw everything off. There's no powdery mildew on these because that's what that fulvic acid and those FPJs, they're very acidic. And that keeps, even with the tomatoes, you don't see any powdery mildew on any of these. Folix, I think that's what they're called. Angela Calloway, yep. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct. You know, I'm not a flower guy, so but that's what they are. But look how beautiful they are. And this is, oh man, just this is my echinaceas here. That's purpureas, echinacea. But these, they're really bad. Last year and the year before I started spraying them with the fulvic acid and the FPJs, they used to get powdery mildew on them really bad. And we've been getting a lot of rain, and of late, no powdery mildew. So this helps. This thing just makes your plant super healthy. I mean, they are super healthy. Everything. We got some octagon, what is it, hexagon raised beds that are going to be on growingoutthebox.com. I'm not going to show you guys what it is until I really show you, but this is another one I've been spraying my sweet potatoes. You know, like I said, can't really see it right now. but those leaves are super dark green. Got a little insect pressure right here, but that's those Japanese beetles. So I went a little heavy on them this time. I sprayed them yesterday, try to build those bricks up in it, get more sugars into the leaves, and then we're gonna see how they, and believe it or not, sweet potato vines make an excellent FPJ. You can put it on other vining plants like your tomato, like your cucumbers and your vining squash, and it'll create. You take the tips off of your sweet potato leaves, and you make an FPJ out of it, and it builds the auxins and gibberellins in the tips that makes the vining plants just take off. I mean, it's just amazing, and I can't tell you guys enough about doing those FPJs right. Once you start doing these FPJs, your whole garden gonna change. I mean, it's literally gonna change because we're not talking about fertilizers in the traditional sense. We're talking about biologically changing what your plant is doing. And that's the beautiful part about the FPJs. It's not a fertilizer. You're actually tapping into the biology of other plants, and you're able to share those nutrients. And what it is a systemic response that the plant triggers, kind of like when it rains, how the stomata opens up and it allows the soil to be moist, which your bacteria wake up. Everything starts working at one time. And that's pretty much what your fulvic acid does. It triggers a systemic response in your plants. And the plants go in defense mode, and then they start taking up all of these extra nutrients to protect itself. And what that does is it actually creates something that's able to fend off from insects, because again, you build those sugars up in the leaves, those complex sugars insects don't really like. They're actually toxic to insects, so it makes the plants more resilient. And that's what you're doing. You're triggering a systemic response from the plant. That's what the FPJs do. And whatever the plant is that you're feeding it through the stomata, it takes on that identity, the biological effects of it. It's, I mean, it really is fascinating. Let me go back down here to the chat to get in with you guys. Let's see here. Empress Herbal, what's going on? I see Empress Herbal came into the room. It's a complete cycle of life. That's right, Empress Herbal. It is a complete cycle of life. Let's see here. Did I put my camera in the right spot? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. Yeah, it's a complete cycle of life. Give me the formula again. Give you the formula for what? V Dazzle. You say give you the formula again. Which formula are we talking about? So, I be jumping all over the place. How cold hardy are the sweetheart? That's Jan McGuire asks, how cold hardy are the sweetheart? The sweetheart is a hybrid northern southern high bush. So she can go probably as far as zone 5, I would think. Um, she'll do well probably going to zone 9. I think after you get a little higher than zone 9, you'll probably be pushing the envelope. But it's technically a southern high bush, but it's a hybrid of a northern. Excuse me. It's a hybrid of a northern and a southern. But it's not just the sweetheart. It is the way that I'm, again, the systemic response that the plants get from the fulvic acid and those FPJs that I'm feeding it. It's biologically being built. So it's not a fertilizer. Basically, my fertilization routine is the same on every single blueberry bush that I have. It's going to be the 50% peat moss, the 25% mini pine bark nuggets, and a 25% compost with a quarter cup of the cottonseed meal. That's what I call a battery. And what that battery does is the cottonseed meal charges it throughout the season, and then twice a year we go back and we add and top those off. So late winter, early spring, we'll top it off with a 3-gallon regiment of the same mix. And then after they fruit, late summer, early fall, we'll top it off again. That is pretty much the whole feeding routine that I have for all of my blueberries. The difference is in how to get those sugars up is going to be in the FPJs and that fulvic acid. That's why I've been sharing these things with you guys over the past few weeks going into this whole season. This is all about closing the loop. And I'm showing you guys how you can literally ditch the big box store. You can literally ditch the big box store. I make my own fish hydrolysis now. I make my own, I can make a formula for any plant out here. On the shelf inside, I got like 15 different bottles or what do you call those? The little canning jars, and each one has a different plant on it and what those plants offer to another plant. So it's pretty much like you can dial in whatever nutrient deficiencies that you're seeing in your plants. So if you know you're having a, let's say, an iron deficiency, I can go back to the plants that I harvested early spring that are gone now. They're gone because that's what they are. They're spring emergence, and they go away after the spring because the hot weather basically destroys them. But because I've made an FPJ out of them, I have them now in a bottle and they're stored. And because they're at that 4.5 or lower on the pH scale, they're going to be shelf stable. So I can at any time go and pull those nutrients from that plant, and I can trigger the plants that are in this garden that are going through let's say that nutrient deficiency, and through a systemic uptake, it changes the molecular structure of the plant. It literally changes it. It enters into the stomata, and like I mean, it's just amazing, and it only takes like a half a teaspoon. That's how powerful this stuff is. I see people take their comfrey, dump it all into a barrel, and then they make a comfrey tea. Then they go and sprinkle it all over their garden. They'll mix a little bit with it. But I can take 4 comfrey leaves, chop them up fine, make an FPJ out of it, put it in a jar, and that one jar will last me all year long. I can make jars and jars of comfrey FPJs, and it's going to be far more potent than putting it into a little weed steep and letting it steep. We're giving away all of our jewels by trying to get it all in one whop, and then you got to let your plants recover from that. You just harvest it just like you're harvesting your fruit. I go over and I pick 4 or 5 leaves from the bottom of maybe 4 or 5 different plants, chop them up, make an FPJ, put them on the shelf whenever I need it. If I need the comfrey for the potassium that's in it, coming towards my sweet potatoes, that's perfect for sweet potatoes. That's what's going to make those sweet potatoes swell up. So you can dial in biologically the nutrients that the plant need through systemic triggering those nutrients. It's not a fertilizer. It's not a fertilizer. It's beautiful. Let's go down here to the chat. I see why Salty Dog called you the mad scientist. Big Rob SLG say he see why Salty Dog calls me the mad scientist. You know what? I am really loving this whole journey that I'm on right now, because for me it's just a discovery thing. You know what I mean? When you try these things, you do your homework, and then you put all of these things together, and then you put them up under the microscope. Even like with what we were talking about the last live on the fulvic acid. I mean, was it the fulvic acid? Yeah, the ascorbic acid, and using the ascorbic acid to remove the chloramine and chlorine from your tap water. What's beautiful about this And I got my cameras now so I can show you guys what I'm doing on the microscope. But I know some of you guys aren't interested in that level of what I'm doing. But this is how I be figuring out all of this stuff, because the ascorbic acid that I was telling you guys to use to break that chloramine so that your plants get the maximum amount of nutrients from watering when you do your liquid feeds. Because when you're putting, let's say, your fish fertilizer and you're taking your tap water, you're killing off a lot of your microbes simply by adding that tap water in it, because the tap water is going to do what it's designed to do, and that is to kill the bacteria and the fungi. That's what it's designed to do, because that's why we need it in our drinking water when that water goes through the pipes, and they want to make sure that it gets to us in a manner in which we can consume without getting those bacteria and fungi that are in the pipes. So what we want to do when we get it to our garden is we want to remove those. And that is, let's see, go up here. She says, G Mama, Miss Yvonne says, have you made an FPJ with other molasses and not have such a low pH? You won't, there's no way that you can do an FPJ and not have a low pH, because what it is the lactic acid bacteria is created from the sugars, and that's with the molasses as well. The beauty of the FPJ is the fact that it lowers the pH. A lot of people make you afraid of the low pH, but the plants are biologically astute. They understand the language. It's like when it rains, the rain is acidic. So think about what happens when it rains. The plant opens up and it receives everything around it. That's why, again, as we were talking about in the last live, when it rains, you can water your garden every single day during the summer. One day of rain, everything greens up. That's a systemic reaction that the plant has. That's biological. That's not a fertilizer. That is a systemic response that the plant has, and it's triggered by the atmosphere. It's triggered by the nitrogen that's in the water. It's triggered by the hydrogen peroxide that's in the rain. All of those things trigger it. In the FPJs, which has a low pH, and the fulvic acid, it has that same ability to trigger your plants. It's a systemic reaction. It's not a fertilizer. It tells the plant to receive certain nutrients, and it goes into overdrive trying to find those nutrients. If they're in your soil, it's going to bring them up to the leaves, make the plant stronger. And what that does, it prepares the plant for battle. It makes it stronger, prepared to go to battle. And that's why it can resist powdery mildew. Powdery mildew is not going to fare well under low pH. When you start talking about a high pH, a pH of 6.5 and all the way up to 7, that's where powdery mildew thrives. Downy mildew, anthracnose, septoria, blight, all of the diseases that we want out of our garden, all of those thrives at a high pH. So you want to have that low pH. You even think about it, and I showed you guys a couple of lives ago, fish fertilizer. Most people are using fish fertilizer, fish emulsion. It was a surprise to me that most people in here didn't know that fish fertilizer is extremely acidic. It's a 4.0, sometimes a 3.6. It'll get down to a 3.6 depending on what your tap water is. But you're putting that on your garden and you don't think twice about it. That's because most of you don't have a pH meter. All of these things, I have the tools to be able to back up what it is that I'm talking about, because there's a little protocol that I like to call this SOS in anything that I'm doing out here in the garden, especially when you're doing these ferments. SOS. First one is smell. If your ferments, if your teas, if your weed teas or whatever it is has a bad smell, that's not a good thing. That's puturistic bacteria. That's bad anaerobic bacteria. You got good anaerobic bacteria, but you have bad anaerobic bacteria. If it smells bad, it is bad anaerobic bacteria. You can do this without having the bad smell. All it takes is molasses or brown sugar. It's going to lower the pH, And those bad bacteria, the bad anaerobic bacteria, can't survive in a low pH. Uh, all the things that you want to get out of your garden, they can't survive at a low pH. The insects that attack your plants, they don't want to eat a plant that has a low pH on the leaves. The bacteria that land on the leaves, they can't survive in a low pH. That's the magic that happens in the garden. All of my FPJs, like when I do my fulvic acid extract, I take that all the way down to a 2.0 on the pH scale. Super extremely acidic. But that is the beautiful part about it. You can take a drop of that and drop it into a gallon bucket, and it'll bring that pH back up into an average range of maybe a 4.5 to a 5.5, something up in there. That is going to be perfect for adding to your garden. It just that little increments make the difference in your plants. That's what you're seeing out here in the garden. It's like I can't better explain it anything better than showing it to you. When you see those deep, rich colors in those plants, that's the chlorophyll acting. That's a systemic response that the plant is giving to the FPJs and the fulvic acid that I'm giving it. Let's see here. We got a highlight here. Marcia 6308 says a quarter cup of cottonseed meal per how many gallons of soil? Well, it depends on what you're trying to do, but the formula that I use for my potted plants, for my potted blueberries, is going to be that formula: 50% peat moss, 25% compost, 25% of mini pine bark nuggets, and a quarter cup of cottonseed meal. And that is a 3 gallon mix. 3 gallons. So that whole total is going to be a 3 gallon mix. And you're going to add that quarter cup of cottonseed into that. When you're doing in the corrugated planters that I do the exact same thing. I'll fill that whole corrugated planter in and I'll mix in 1/4 cup of the cottonseed meal. That's just the cottonseed meal is what I call the battery charger. Because we're mixing in the mini pine bark nuggets into the mix, that's going to have a drawdown of nitrogen. If you don't have the cottonseed meal in it and your pH is thrown off, this is the reason why. If you can't do one thing of this mix and not do the other. I hear so many people say, well, I did your mix, but I didn't put. No, well, you didn't do the mix. That's why your pH is off. It's the entire system. If you're not doing the entire system, it's going to throw everything off. You're going to have a nitrogen drawdown. Your plant's going to start having chlorosis. All of those things are going to happen because the cottonseed meal is what I call the battery charger. It offsets the fact that you're putting the pine bark nuggets in your soil. So where the pine bark nuggets draw down your nitrogen, the cottonseed meal slowly releases and it balances back off. It has to be in connection with each other. Without one or the other, the system is not going to work. So you have a battery, which is your mix, and the charger is the cottonseed meal. We charge our mix twice a year. That's how it continuously stays acidic. 4.5 to 5.5. If you do it the way that I'm asking you to do it, you can't lose. And that's why I was showing you guys with the blueberries in the pots this year, the same results that I get from my big corrugated planters. Now, I have a neighbor that I've been working with, and we've been working on a system to plant in ground, even when your soil is, I'm not going to say alkaline, but if your soil is above your pH of 4.5 and 5.5, I have a system, and I call it a blueberry pit that I put together. It works. We're right now maybe 7 months in, and it's sustained in that pH. I think the last time he said he checked it, he was at a 5.7, which is right at the top, but that's still good for 7 months that's been in the ground. And we started off, I think we landed at maybe a 4.2 or something like that. So he had a slight drift, but this is a brand new bed. We've did like I said, it's called a blueberry pit, and I'm going to plant two of my blueberries going into the fall because I think that's the best time to plant the blueberries. and I'm going to plant it in this system in the soil. I'm going to show you guys how to do this. And it's very simple. It's a little work because it's not just you dig the hole and you stick the blueberry in the hole. There's a whole system that goes with it. And it's the same way I'm telling you with the blueberry mix that I'm doing. It's a system that has to be set up the exact way or it's not going to work. I can't tell you enough times how many people will email me and they say, I did your mix, but I did such and such and such. You didn't do the mix. You didn't do the mix. You can't deviate from it. Now, the only thing that I will say, you can use fir bark for pine bark. I know a lot of people up north in the Midwest, they don't have the pine bark. So if you can substitute with a fir bark, that is the one thing you can do. And actually, the fir bark is better. Down south, we don't have fir bark. So if I had my choice, I would use fir bark. But fir bark is the answer. And let's see here. We're going to go back up to Miss Yvonne says, I just asked because you mentioned the Jardine method. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, you have to be, it has to be a 4.5 or lower. Anything above that, it's not going to be shelf stable, and you're going to run the risk of that pH starting to climb, and then you're going to start talking about bad bacteria entering, and that's what you're going to be harboring, bad bacteria. Bad bacteria does not fare well under that threshold of 4.5. It's a good question. See here, Marcia says, thank you. Um, Dr. Sev Money Talks. Hey, how you doing today? Glad to see you in. Big Wheel Dog says, question, uh, do you worry about humic acid contaminating inputs, or do you just use organic materials to top off dressings and make the humic acid? Uh, I could show you something really amazing, and I know it will show up. Uh, Let me see here. How many people? We got 99 people in there now. If I walk away, I'm sure some people are gonna. But if I brought out, I got a bottle of fulvic acid that I'm making right now. I make my own fulvic acid. I don't buy it. I don't outsource it. I make my own fulvic acid, and I'm gonna tell you what the formula is now. So for anybody who's listening, you can. It's just very simple to do. You have to have a pH meter. So there's no other way around it. Without a pH meter, this is not going to work for you. You can guess at it, but it has to be done to the science because it is a science. You're going to need some baking soda, and what I do is I bake the baking soda at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. What that's going to do to the baking soda, it's going to change it from a calcium bicarbonate to a calcium carbonate. That's what it's going to do. It's going to change the chemical structure, the molecular structure of that. It's going to change. It's no longer going to be calcium bicarbonate. It's going to become calcium carbonate. That's number one. You have to bake it for, for 30 minutes at 400 degrees. Why are you going to do that? And why do you want to change it from a bicarbonate to a carbonate? Because what that's going to do, it's going to take that, let's say if you mix in some baking soda and water, it's going to have a pH of probably a 8.5. When you change it from a bicarbonate to a carbonate, that moves up two scales. So you go from an 8.5 to an 11.5 on the pH scale. Super alkaline is what you need. This is what extracts the fulvic and humic acid. This is what breaks that bond and strips the fulvic and humic acid. So what I do then, I take a cup of peat moss. I take the peat moss, I put it into a gallon of water, dechlorinated. That means I'm using ascorbic acid, but you want to use, um, I'm sorry, don't use the dechlorinated water. Use distilled water. This is the catch to it. Distilled water. You want something that has no contaminants in it, no inputs in it. Look at my wife. Man, let me tell y'all something. My wife is a superstar. She know where all my little gadgets at. This is fulvic acid. See that beautiful amber color? Let me see if my light, yeah. We don't want to put light on it. Light will degrade it. This is fulvic acid. Now, when I first do this, when you first add this to your batch, when I'm telling you now about the alkaline baking soda, you're going to take that up to 11 pH. That 11 pH, when you add that peat moss, that 1 cup into this 1 gallon, this is going to turn dark black. It's going to turn coffee black. That's what this looks like before you extract it. What that coffee black is, that is the extraction of both the fulvic and the humic acid. They're suspended. They both can float or be in suspension only in alkaline solutions. That is why we took our baking soda, pushed that pH up to an 11, because we want to break that bond and strip both the fulvic and the humic acid out. Okay, that's the first part. This is the end. This is the end result here. So what you're going to have in that first extraction is fulvic and humic acid. It's going to be pitch black. It's going to take that peat moss, which is brown, and it's going to turn it pitch black, because what it's doing is extracting both the fulvic and humic acid out. We mix that, we put a breathable cap on it, and we stir it for the next 48 hours, 24 to 48 hours. You just go in every so many hours, just go in and mix it. You want to get that suspended, keep that peat moss floating in that water. After you go through your 48-hour period, we're going to strain off the peat moss, and what we're going to be left with is this thick coffee-like liquid, and that is fulvic and humic acid. The peat moss now, which has a pH of a 3.6, when we added it, now the peat moss, through cation exchange, has taken on the identity, the pH of that alkaline solution. So now your peat moss is registering at 11.5. We can take that and we can use that as fertilizer in the garden, the slow release potassium fertilizer in the garden. That's what we do with the peat moss after we've extracted our fulvic and humic acid. So everything is used, nothing goes to waste. So now what we're left is with this dark, rich, black, coffee-looking solution. Okay. We take our citric acid. This is where the beautiful part happens at. And you want to have that jar halfway full, because you know what's going to happen. When you put that citric acid, we're going to make a, a mother liquor, is what I call it. And I'll do that in 1 cup. 1 cup of distilled water, and I'll take my citric acid and I'll put 2 tablespoons, 3 tablespoons. And what I want to do is get that down to a 2.0. I want that citric acid to take that acid, our main mother liquor of distilled water, in our 2.0. We want to get a threshold of a 2.0 for acidity. And then what we're going to do, we're going to crash that fulvic and humic acid. We pour it in very slow, because it's going to be a reaction. You're going to get that acidic reaction with that alkaline, and you're going to get that fizz. So you want to have enough room in there to account for that fizz. It's going to fizz up. You put a little bit in, and that first one is going to drop down to probably a 6.0 or 5.0. That's good. You want to do, because what's happening now is those two mediums are battling against each other. The cation exchange is starting to happen. And what's going to happen is, now we want to keep adding increments of our citric acid. Citric acid is organic. And what we want to do is we want to keep pushing that pH down, keep pushing that pH down until we get it below a 2.0. When I hit 1.9, I know we got it. Now what we want to do is we want to sit that jar to the side. And that is what this is. We want to sit this jar to the side And we want to let this sit for about 5 days. Don't touch it, don't disturb it. Take you a coat, a towel, throw it over the top, and just let it sit. When you come back, you're going to have sludge in the bottom of that container. That sludge in the bottom of the container, that is your humic acid. The humic acid has precipitated and is fallen to the bottom, and it'll look like sludge on the bottom. Now, what we do now, we take our wine sifter and we pump off the fulvic acid off the top, trying not to disturb the humic acid that's at the bottom. We pump off the fulvic acid and we store it. This has a pH of a 2.0. This is super, super acidic. But when you mix this, like I said, a half a teaspoon to a gallon of water, oh man, I call it raindrops in a bottle. It triggers systemic reaction in your plants. The stomata opens. If you water it in the soil, the pores in the soil are going to wake up. The microbes are going to adjust to it. But as a foliar feed, within 24 hours, within 24 hours, you'll literally see your green start to come through. The plant will just come to life. You'll see it come through. You're going to have less insect pressure because it's going to build complex sugars. That's what it is. The amino acids are going to build those complex sugars. Complex sugars, insects not just don't like them, but they are toxic to insects. That's why you see the one thing in my garden that's going to have more insect pressure than anything is going to be my beans, because I try not to put any inputs on my beans because I want the bacteria to react with the beans to be able to pull the nitrogen from the air. So I'm trying to figure out how I can do that without making my bacteria lazy with the beans. But right now the beans are getting the brunt of the Japanese beetle right now. The Japanese beetle is every bean plant that I have around here. I'm running them off because everything else is too strong for the Japanese beetle. They'll bite in on certain things, but the beans are the only thing in the garden that I have not really pushed to the emily. I've sprayed them today for the first time. I want to see what difference does it make, but that is what the fulvic acid does. Now you can take your fish hydrolysate, fish fertilizer, whatever you want to use, and you put a drop of that fulvic acid in there and you do a foliar feed on your plants. Oh my goodness. Yes, that is what's happening out here. That's why my blueberry bushes have that high Brix. That's why my tomatoes have that high Brix. It's the fruit grow enormously. I mean, you saw the eggplant that I had. I had an eggplant in there. I probably should have weighed it. As large as my head with the gloss, the sheen still has a little give in it. Beautiful eggplants. They're gonna supersize everything that's going on. So let me get over here. Big Will say, "Wifey to the rescue."